Good evening, everyone. This is Rebecca, your favorite interior designer with Revision Custom Home Design. Today I am working on a kitchen remodel. It is an existing space. The house was built, I don't even know. I don't know, we'll say late 90s, early 2000s. Anyway, it has dark red burgundy walls and wood cabinets, and it needs a little bit of an update, both for looks but also for the function of the space. Now, this client, they have a pretty good idea of what they want. Streaming.
Look,
I know. Good. Put it in the dishwasher. The sink. All right. Anywho, yay for self-sufficient kids. So, the client has a pretty good idea of what they want. In fact, they actually drew out exactly what they had already. So the existing plan was really easy. I just had to double check a couple dimensions. We're taking the current kitchen layout with an island. We're actually getting rid of the island and turning it more into a peninsula shape, relocating the fridge into a little pantry closet, and then we're expanding into an adjacent garage space. They have kind of a garage within this storage room along the back that runs back to back with the kitchen. They don't use it for the garage, so we're going to connect it to the house and have that be the laundry room. The current laundry room will then become just kind of the walkthrough from the garage into the house, with mudroom and some pantry functions in there. So it's actually a really useful way to use this space. I'm pretty excited about this. So like I said, the client already handed me the plans that she drew up. I just have to get them drafted into the computer because obviously we need to turn these into the city, and they need to have plans that they can build off of. The gal actually works in the city planning department, so she knows what we need. So anyway, so what I'm going to be doing here real quick is first I'm going to draw up the existing space, and then I'll switch over to the proposed plan. So, like usual, I am in Chief Architect. I'm going to give this a start here. Now, this one is a little different because I'm not drawing the entire house. I'm just drawing kind of this space for the kitchen and stuff. So there's going to be, I'm going to have to draw an invisible wall off to one end just to contain this. There's a wall here. That's open. And then this is not a siding wall, but it is a 6 wall. It's an interior 6. So that's what you have to have between a garage and a house. So that one is a little different. And over here, again, this is not a siding 6, it's an interior 6. And as of right now, this actually doesn't connect. It's like that. Okay. So we're going to do this room divider, this little invisible wall, I like to call it, just to close off our space. Chief doesn't like open spaces. It doesn't like, it builds houses. It wants enclosed houses. It doesn't want just little open sheds that have 2 walls and nothing else. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete a couple of these dimension lines. Yep, because don't need that, don't need that. I will need that one. Don't need that. That's a duplicate, and that's a duplicate, and that's a duplicate. Alright, so what we're starting with here is, I'm actually going to use the dimension tool here to do the interior dimension because that's how we've got this measured. Okay. And then there's actually a couple interior walls, so this comes across, and then there's this little powder room here in the corner, like that. So we don't need that dimension, we need this dimension, that dimension, okay, so then this is going to delineate the last few little spaces. Alright, so right now this is the perimeter that we're working within. We've got that. Just got to kind of map out a couple of these spaces. Alright. So this is the existing kitchen right here in the middle. The big space obviously is the kitchen. Over here we have, this is sort of the laundry, mudroom pass-through. There's a bench on one side and wash and dry on the other side. Here we have a small little pantry that opens into the kitchen. Back here there's a mechanical chase, and then this is a small powder room. So let's start getting some of these measurements on here. Okay. We have, this is a 3.0 door, it should be. Then interior we have this one, which is a 2.8 door. And that also hinges that way. So we know that is 16. Ooh, that's actually really close. Wow. Surprised those doors don't hit each other. Maybe they do. Maybe that is only a 2.8 door. Now, this, it looks like I did forget to take a measurement, which does happen from time to time. Like I said, the client had drawn this up pretty thoroughly, so I didn't take my usual sequence of site measures, but I did get a couple different things. I got this measurement from the corner, which is 3'2". This measurement behind the door I don't have, but I do have the measurement to this door, and this is a 2'4" door. I do have that measurement, which is 3'6". Okay. Oh, and that, so I've got this wall obviously in the wrong spot because I wasn't able to go over far enough. Okay. And I know that this is right around the 2-foot mark, maybe not exactly, but pretty close. And according to my grid lines, that's actually what that looks like right there. And then the interior of this pantry is 3'8". Okay. So I'm thinking it might be just a little bit further over. Like that. Okay. So I think that's probably pretty accurate. These doors I'm sure line up, so if that's, well, let's see. Okay, so now we know our doors line up. We've got a room there. I'm going to guess that that's not 5'8", so I'm going to just guess 8'4". And then everything kind of hinges off of everything else. So you've got to get your measurements, you know, from the corner here. And then this right here is, and this is actually 5'7". There we go. The other thing that sometimes can be a little tricky when you're doing site measures and as-builts is measurements are taken on top of the drywall. When you go to build that, you actually have to have measurements down to the studs. And so these dimensions that are on my screen here, those are stud to stud, not drywall to drywall. So when I'm doing my measurements here, looking at what's measured, if the room is 66 inches wide, on my site measurement, I actually have to draw it 67 because there's that extra drywall. So when I start to pull drywall down and reframe things, they need to know that extra half inch is there. Okay, so we know that, and then this little powder room. We're not really doing anything with it, but I want to make sure I've got it notated here. And this door swings this way. Okay. So now I'm going to take these measurements and move them to where they are visible, but out of the way of what I'm trying to do here. Okay. And then this measurement, okay, so we have two different reference points here. We have one running the length of this wall that says it's 212 inches on the outside, and then we have the individual measurements of the cabinet depth, the walkway, the island, and the walkway again. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my end-to-end dimension tool to measure from this corner to that corner. Okay. Now since I know that down here on this part of the screen, those measurements have all been worked off of each other, the wall that I want to move is this top wall on the screen. So I'm going to click on that. Oh, but I just noticed my measurement went to the outside edge. Now I want to go to the inside edge. There we go. So I'm going to click on that wall, click on my measurement, and I want that to be 212 inches. So there we go. So that means the inside of my kitchen, according to this, is 11 foot 4 or 11 foot 3 sheetrock to sheetrock. So, okay, I think we're doing good. Yay. Okay. So I've got that measurement. Again, I'm going to pull that measurement out to here. Got that. Now I've got the powder room. Now I can go into my kitchen here and start drawing in my cabinets. So we have full height cabinet, and it's going to be a little bit wider than that 24 inches, but because right now I know there's a microwave in that. And then we need a fridge. And according to the client's measurements, from this corner of the fridge to the wall, $66.5, and that is actually just about perfect. Yay! So we know we're on the right track here. Okay. So now we go back to our cabinet tool. Base cabinet, base cabinet. Go over here and do base cabinet. So obviously this needs to be just a little smaller. There we go. One thing I'm going to do though is turn off my cabinet labels. I hate those things. If I was a kitchen and bath designer, obviously I would need those for my close-ups, but I'd probably use 2020 or something for that anyway. Okay. So the actual, okay, so then there's going to be a dishwasher. Tools. This is 36 because we have a sink. And then we have a couple more. Alright. So we know that from this end to the wall. Okay, right now I've got that showing at 12, which is 144. We are like spot on. The client measured that at 143.5. So that is awesome. Okay. And then we have a window. I might have to look at my pictures to see. I think it might have been a okay, it is a triple panel with a center casement. Okay. Exactly. Technically on ours the casement is in the middle, but this will show exactly what we need it to show. It is 70 by 47, and the bottom edge of this is a 9 foot 47, yeah. It can't be 33 because our countertops are 36. So this is, we'll say 40 to the bottom. Floor to the top is 87. That still falls below our ceiling height of 9 feet. Okay. And that is centered over that sink. We know that. Now over here on this wall, we do also have a patio door. So we have that, and it is a glass panel. And then I'm going to copy and paste. The second panel doesn't actually open, so I'm going to show it closed like that. And the first one does open exactly like that. Now here we have 19.5 inches from here to the door. So I've got that just a little bit off. There we go, 19.5, and then this one will butt right up against that. Okay. And then the last thing that we need, I'm going to delete this to measure because we don't really need that. The last thing is the island. And oh, not out of range. Sorry. It is an electric flat top. There we go. It goes there. Oh, facing the other way. Okay. And then the cabinet, let's see here. The overall here is 63, and so if that's 36, that's 2'7", 2'6", so that means that needs to be 1'3". Okay. I'm going to scooch this down just a little ways because it was pretty close down here. Not quite that far. You need your minimum of 3 feet for your walkway there, and I know they have that, so. Okay. And then just to double check, oh wait, first we need to draw and that's not big. Oh wow. No, 29, okay. 5. This is why this island is horrible. There is a 5-inch strip of countertop on the back side of that oven, and 15 inches on either side, and that's the island floating in the middle. So if you can imagine, kids running around, even just using that, cooking and having to set things down, there's just not enough space on either side. You've got, it's not safe. Kids can reach up from that back side and touch the hot burners. It's just really unsafe. and just not very practical. Okay, 3'3". Okay, so I think we're off by 1 inch here. We just need to move that one. Perfect. Okay. Gotcha. And the reason I'm flexible on that is partly because the location of the oven doesn't matter too much right now on the as-built because we're going to be changing it. It's not like there's a plumbing line or anything running to it. There's just power, and we'll scooch that in the floor. We'll be replacing flooring anyway. The other thing is, with these measurements, since I didn't take them myself, there's a little bit of margin for error. You just don't know for sure if someone measured to the front edge of the cabinet, to the front edge of the countertop. There's about a half inch difference there sometimes. So we're close, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So, okay. So then what we've got here, we've got to do washer and dryer. Okay, so we've got washer and dryer, and the hookups for those are actually on this little side wall right there, adjacent to the kitchen. And then I'm just going to use the shelf tool because it's just easier that way. So it's 2 inches thick. We'll say it's 22 inches deep, and top is 20 inches off the floor. And we'll stretch that to fit the space. Okay, so there's a bench there, and then I'm just going to use my text tool to label a few of these things since we've got the dimensions, so we don't need the room measurements. So here we've got kitchen. Which should be fairly obvious to anyone looking at this, but pantry. This is our lovely, tiny laundry mudroom. I'm actually going to show this door closed because that's just really awkward. Okay, back to the text tool. Out here we have garage. And okay. And powder room. Alright, so that is the basics of what we're doing for this existing plan. All of the major appliances are located, which means we know where all of the plumbing goes, where the electrical is. I know the default for this is a 9-foot ceiling, so we're good there. I do want to make one note. There was a, hold on. Nope, okay. So that's 9-foot ceiling. Okay, the powder room, the pantry, and the laundry mudroom, those have 8-foot ceilings. So, really quick before I forget, I am just going to change those in the settings so that when I go to do the new addition, you know what that adds up to. So, that's under structure here. Click on my text, I want to click on the room. And we always want to do this, well, whenever possible, we want to do this on the existing plan first, because it's a hassle to have to go back to manually change them all later. So if you catch them all now, then when you save the new plan, obviously that saves correctly, and I keep wanting to grab the things I don't want it to grab. Now, this room out here, there's a couple steps that go up, and I do not see a measurement here. I know it's down a couple steps, so we will be framing in up above the existing concrete slab. I seem to recall 3 into the house, so we're going to say it's 21 lower. So the floor is negative 21, but I'm going to leave that ceiling height alone because I know it was up there pretty high. Okay. Good. So that way we've just got, we know that there's a bit of a difference. And I'm going to use my text tool. To call that out, and I will verify that later on. They really won't affect too much for this plan. Actually, it really won't affect hardly anything because it won't affect the bracing under there. They'll just run a rim joist all the way around the perimeter. But it's good to know. And if nothing else, it points out on the plan that we know that we have the space to build the necessary floating subfloor and all that. Okay, and then I don't know how we'll go like that. Okay. So there is the existing plan for this project. We've got all of our existing conditions in place. Oh, and I'm going to make one quick note. The electrical panel is out here on this wall. Text. So I'm going to move this garage storage word. Move this dimension so it's lined up out here. The whole point of all this is simply making it as easy to read as possible. So if things are overlapped, obviously they're going to be difficult to read. I mean, right here, that's not terrible, but I can make it better, so we'll do that. And actually, that I don't need because, like I said, that invisible line on the end is an arbitrary dimension. So that really doesn't matter. And honestly, that dimension doesn't matter because it's mimicked over here. And this is what we're looking at right here. We're actually not even going to worry about that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Later on when I get to the point where I've got my proposed plan drawn up, I'll open up a layout, we'll copy this in, we'll have one page with existing plan, we'll have one page with proposed plan, and we'll be able to have the two side by side and show what the differences are. So, that is my existing plan. I've hit save, and I'll do it again just to make sure. Then I go to save as, and now instead of existing, I'm going to do proposed. Yeah. I'm not great on naming conventions. Eventually, you know, if I knew I was going to be doing options, then I would say like proposed option 1, proposed option 2. But they have a really clear idea of what it is they're looking to accomplish here. So the plan is the plan. I mean, there might be a few minor differences in, you know, a couple inches here and there, but for the most part, we know what we're doing. And the only thing I didn't draw in on the existing plan, I just realized, is the upper cabinets. But for the purpose of a blueprint, they don't really matter. We are going to try and reuse a handful of them in the newer addition space. And now why are you over there? But, sorry, dog. But in terms of seeing the plan and seeing how much space we have, we don't really need that. So, the resolution is low. Why? Alright, well, anyway, we're going to keep going. Okay, so we've moved on to our proposed working plan view. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to pull out that text. I'm going to move this dimension line out. I'm going to move this dimension line over here. Same with that one, actually a little further over. Excuse me. Okay. And I'm going to move this text out. There. Like that. Alright. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry this wall over, peel this wall back, flip these over, See how ingenious is that? They have this whole bunch of unused space, and now we're going to, oops, sorry, I hit the mic. And now we're going to flip it around. Plumbing stays very close. We had the hookups right here on this wall. We're only going to have to move them a couple feet to line up with this wall. In the kitchen, microwave will probably stay the same. Where the fridge is, that'll become the stove oven with a hood up above. So when this cabinet here, that'll be, instead of a full height cabinet with the microwave kind of in the middle, it'll probably end up being like a base upper combo, and then we'll maybe put the microwave in the base unit. We'll work out the final kitchen details with the cabinet designer, because we're going to, even though the layout of the kitchen isn't changing much, we are going to pull out all the old cabinets and put in new, and then just reuse as many of the old cabinets as we can over here. In fact, we're actually going to, I'm going to copy and paste. We're probably just going to pull this old sink and the countertop, because it's one of those integral sink solid surface tops, and just carry it in and reuse it here if possible. So that's one thing we'll have to go through and kind of map out what from the kitchen we can reuse. Like, we know we can move everything out here. It's just a matter of, so like in this corner here, I'm noticing a 2-foot cabinet might not fit exactly, because it looks like, what is that? Oh no, maybe it did. So we might be able to fit in essentially 7 feet. 2 24-inch base units, and then the 36-inch sink base, plus the attached countertop. All we'll have to do is have the fabricators for the countertop. Basically, they'll cut the countertop right here next to the sink, and then cut where this diagonal, or where that dash line goes across, to create that corner unit. In order to fit that all in, and then we'll put base cabinets down here. So then over here, oh, I don't need to type anything. I'm just going to scooch that word over. We're going to take this bench that I had drawn in before. We're going to put, we're not going to reuse it, but something like that. Let's make that just 10 foot, it's nice and even. So we're going to be some sort of a bench with coat hooks, cubby system in the future. Over here, we're just going to relocate that. Pantry, shelving. Here, we're actually going to get rid of the door. And this is kind of ingenious. We're going to break this wall here. Have to break. Open this up like that. And move it over here. So we'll delete that. This will scooch up. It will stick out just a little bit, because you gotta give yourself room for door hinges. So it'll move forward. I don't know if they'll bother to frame in this backspace or just leave it open. That's entirely up to the client whether they want to do that. But we will just remove that door casing, frame it as a nice square opening all the way up to the ceiling. There is already a little light in there. We might cap that off and do some cabinets above. But I don't know if, so we might have to frame a wall just to mount a cabinet too, but we'll see. So then now here, we're going to take this, move it over here.
Hey Mama. Hey Mama. Hey Mama. Can I make this?
Have brother help you?
No, can I make this? This. This. This.
Okay. Perfect. Sink and dishwasher are basically staying in the exact same spot. We're going to delete this. And then we're going to, okay, so we know we need 1 foot 7.5. We're actually going to swap this out with a slider. 6 foot. And it was 1 foot 7.5. So we know that's how much space we have. And the reason that matters is because we want, first of all, we want the operable panel on this one. And I don't know if, no, I don't want that. Sorry. Well, I don't worry about that. Anyway, what we want to do is, part of the problem was that the 2 doors we had before, it was the door closest to the kitchen that opened, which meant they couldn't have like counter stools there. So when we do this sliding door, we want to make sure the operating side is further away from
Hey,
the
Mom, Alex does not want to do this.
Tell him he has to.
No, he's not want to.
Tell him I'm streaming and he has
He's
to.
not want to.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm busy.
He's not want to.
All right.
Can you make
So then what we're going to do is
this bagel for me?
we're going to do a peninsula here, which will make much more use of the space, and then with the countertop extending out to make use of this extra little foot and a half here. Please
You
don't.
do that. You do that.
You
No,
need-
you do that.
I'm in the middle of streaming. You need to take this.
No, you do that.
Tell your brother.
No, you do that. You do that, Mama.
Okay. So now we need to turn this corner. And we don't want to get too close there. So maybe this one will do, oops, as only a 12-inch. Okay, so I'm going to move the word kitchen into here. Using our cabinet tools, we're going to create a custom countertop that comes out like that. Don't know why, but the snaps never want to line. Yeah, the snaps never want to line up with the actual edge of the countertop, which is silly. And yep, perfect. Okay. So we've now got basically everything back into place. Our window didn't move. We'll replace the sink, but that location didn't move at all. The dishwasher didn't move. We do need to add a range hood. And I generally do this wall canopy hood. That's kind of my favorite template. And that looks nice and centered. Yep. So if we come out here and look at this in 3D. Oh, that's so weird. I've been in this space. I know what it feels like, but because the colors are different and everything, it just feels so different. Okay. So we know we need a wall cabinet. And there needs to be a little bit of space on either side of that range hood, partly for looks, and partly because you don't want those touching. That's just kind of silly. But let's check the plan view and see how much space we've got. We've got a little bit of space, so let's move that a little closer in, and one there. Okay. And you want those to be, usually you want whatever's on the left and right of that to be fairly symmetrical. However, our base cabinets aren't, so we've got a little bit of wiggle room. We probably will also take these up a little bit higher to the ceiling eventually, but we'll work out those details with the cabinet designer. And then, as I mentioned, we probably want to put a cabinet up here above the fridge. Now it's not going to want to let me do this, I don't think. So we want to make it 24 inches deep. There we go, 24. Because otherwise cabinets above refrigerators are kind of silly and useless. But by making that the full 24 inches deep, now this is where we might have to frame a wall back there to mount that, but we could probably also put like cleats on the side walls. So if we go back to this and turn, now as you can see that came down a little lower than it needed to be. First we want to lift that up to the ceiling. Something like that. We'll double check those measurements, but we can probably do that. So it'll look built in. You really won't notice that there's this gap behind it because we'll fill that in. And then that cabinet up top will be great for things like you can put vertical dividers in there and things that you don't use terribly often, like big roasting pans. You know, off to the side you can have a section for baking sheets. Things that you can grab with one hand and pull down easily, but that you don't necessarily use on a daily basis. Those things are great to go above a fridge like that. Okay, so then let's turn the corner here. And then over here, oops, upper cabinet. Something like that. There we go. And over on that part of the house, there's a fireplace that comes out and divides this little nook from the adjacent living room. There's a dining room over there, but that is now what our kitchen feels like. And then down here in this base cabinet, we'll probably do like a microwave or something. So I'm going to make a quick note. So now we've actually got, I mean, that's, looking at this on the first drawing that the client gave me, that room out there didn't look huge. But even now that I'm seeing, we've got the washer and dryer in there, we've got cabinetry, we've got a lot of depth to this room, which is awesome. We've got the electrical panel there. We do want to add in a window down on this end, and we want to make it match what's in the kitchen, so we're going to do a casement. Maybe we'll only make it 24 inches wide, we'll see. Although we don't want to get in the way of those upper cabinets, so maybe we'll put it there. It will depend on the exact measurement of where that electrical panel is, but close. And then she wants to do an exterior door here. I need to change the swing. And then she wanted one, and we'll have to look in the library here real quick. That was like a half glass, perhaps. So, yeah, like that. And that's not like a huge big detail to worry about right now, but if I've got it, I'll try and show it always. So right now, okay, now this room, oh, because this is, okay, so now, I was going to say the ceiling height looks kind of tall, and that's because we had it at the same level as the garage before. So let's double check this one and see what it opened up to. So this now, structure, our floor is not at negative 21, our floor is at 0, and we have an 8-foot ceiling in here. So now, let's go back to that camera view. Whoops. There we go. Okay, I just had to reset. Yay. So it's still a big room. You know, if you, that's a lot of width. There's plenty of space. We might Again, depending on where this electrical panel sits on that wall, and we'll have to double check that. Probably move this in from the corner just a little bit, which gives you a little bit more flexibility on that wall for hooks or anything like that. A lot of it is that you wanted the light to come in, which I totally understand. We're going to do some wall cabinets up here. And we'll reuse what we can. I'm actually going to take out this one over the sink. Zoom forward here real quick. So this might change up just a little bit with, you know, what we're able to pull out of that kitchen and reuse. But okay, and actually probably a little lower than that because you want it to be reachable. Also, with the 8-foot ceiling, we are going to run these cabinets up to full ceiling height. It'll look the best. You won't worry about crown. It'll also give you a little more workspace here on the countertops. Okay, and then some open shelving space there. Let's lift that up just a little bit. So 76, that's doable. Okay. So then over here, as we turn the corner, we've got all kinds of space for a cubby, built-in bench. The reason we've got this wall so long and empty is for assorted storage. The client's still undecided as far as whether it's going to be fully built in or whether it's going to be just kind of grow with them as they go, but that's a good starting point. And then over here, this is where we pulled out that bench that was there before. Here's where we're going to do pantry shelving. Let's go back to the shelf. Okay, so first thing, depth is 18, height off the floor is 18 for the bottom one. Depth is 18, and then after that bottom one that's 18 inches off the floor, I'd like to do 12-inch increments. So the next one is 30. 42. 54. 66. 78. And then one more. And actually, you know what? We're not going to do that last one. That's if we had a 9-foot ceiling. And then now we just need to stretch these side to side. So now we can see all of that storage space that we have. The client was thinking they're probably going to do a fair amount of the work themselves, so I'll just kind of give them the guideline for that. Personally, probably with the width that's going on there, it might make sense for stability to have a vertical support running down the center, and then you'll probably use like the 1x4 MDF cleat all the way around the edge to support those. So we'll see if it'll let me put one in here. So there you go. You can see kind of what that ends up looking like. So very nice space, tons of storage. It definitely makes this space, as you're coming in from the garage, right there, it makes it way less crowded. You know, right now everyone was walking in the door, and this was where all the shoes were. There was a heap of shoes this high. Totally normal when you have a family with kids and stuff. But now that can be where all the groceries kind of get dropped off. People can step off the side, out of that traffic flow, to put down shoes, bags, hooks, whatever. So we're going to label this as bench. Bench and coat hooks. And then along this wall, storage or shelving? Question mark. So we'll turn this way. I'm also going to adjust that. And then we're pretty much good to go on this one. So, let's see here. Go ahead and hit save. Okay. And then the next step is doing a layout. So I have a couple different templates depending on what I want to do. I'm going to start with a letter size template on this one and just see what happens. So take my template and then save as. Okay. So now I'm going to, what page am I on my layout? Always check your layout page, because anything you put on page 0 will show on every page. Okay, so file, send to layout, 1/4 inch. Okay, it's warning me that it's big, but that might not be the end of the world. Okay, because we don't need that. You can totally adjust that dimension. Fine. And you see that adjusts in real time. So I'm able to come in here and see if that makes sense. We also don't need all of that space because that was just that extra. So we do that, and then also I want to take off my display. I don't want my layout box labeled. Okay, so that is what that looks like on 8.5 by 11. So we can see pretty much everything that the project needs. It doesn't allow me much space on this page for notes. I'm going to adjust where that electrical panel notation is. So it does all fit on one page, but it doesn't really afford me a lot of space for notes on this page. So as long as they're willing to look at the next, flip through pages, it's not a big deal. Otherwise, what I could do is just do an architectural D, which is the 24 inch by 36 inch paper, which is essentially, I believe, 4 of these, give or take. And then I could put the entire project on one page, which would be both the previous plan, the existing plan, the proposed plan, and then a couple necessary elevations. If I do it this way on this 8.5 by 11, there's going to be a lot of pages to flip through to see all of the elevations that are necessary. So I think that's what I'm going to do. probably better do that. So I'm going to leave this, I'm going to save. Although I do want to rename. Can I do that? I don't know if it'll let me rename while it's here. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. No. And I'm just going to really quick rename that letter size layout. Okay. Now I'm going to, then I might go back to use that. Okay, and then file, open layout. Again, my other template here is the ArchD template. And you can see how that looks different. Plot plan. I'm actually just going to skip it. Oh, actually, I'm going to do project overview if it lets me. Yeah, okay. We're going to page 1. Okay, so file, send to layout, 1/4 inch, always. Oh, wait, that means that's because I haven't saved it. So file, save as. Okay, so now I've saved it as the correct my ArchD layout. I'm going to close that up, close that up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to put that plan here. I need to open up my existing also send to layout. And again, 1/4 inch. Don't do that. With that. Okay. So I'm going to kind of mark out my page here. Since I'm basically putting the entire project on one page, I want it to be easy to see what's going on here. So I'm creating little layout boxes around my stuff and use the marker to do going to call out my scale, change that from existing to proposed. Okay. And that's pretty well, yeah, that looks pretty well lined up. Next up, we want, I'll close the existing, because I shouldn't need that anymore. I'm going to just, hold on, just lift that up a little bit. In case I need to use any of the space down here for notes or something. So those are my plans. Now over here, this is our new plan. So we're going to go around the kitchen and do some elevation views. So wall elevation. Oh, did I click too close to those? Oh, those cabinets are facing the wrong direction. Okay. There we go. So that matches up. Yay! Okay, so file, send to layout. Elevations I like to do in 1/2 inch scale. We'll see how much of the page that takes. That's totally doable. Okay. Now the one thing the client wanted me to do on this one that I don't really, I do but I don't, is to really go through the kitchen and map out where I thought drawers, doors, kind of those types of storage solutions would be better fit or well suited. So I definitely want to do a microwave in the base here. So I think that only needs to be, that's the one issue, is that only needs to be 30 inches wide. So we will be going a little bit off from where that fridge was located before. We'll need to see if we can fit, okay, so that works. So now I need to go to the front side back. Wait. Customizing this. I don't want a drawer, I want an opening, I think. And I need it to be tall enough for my microwave. So that is going to have to be a lot shorter. So let's try that. I've never tried to do this in a base before. Oh, there's a microwave base. Ah, that makes that easier. Okay, so delete. And I don't necessarily want, I don't want the drawer. So, front side's back. I want that to, I want the, I don't want that, so I'm going to delete that. Nope, undo. Cancel. Go away. There we go. And then that, I want it to be a drawer. Hold on. I don't know why all these templates have a 9-inch toe kick. That's just stupid. Alright, there we go. Yeah. Because these other cabinets don't have... Yeah, they have a 4-inch toe kick. That's silly. Much better. Awesome. Okay. Yay! That worked. Oh, and the only other thing is the height. Duh. Okay. Cabinet height. 36. And no backsplash. Now that blends with the kitchen. What? Go away. And then personally, I like drawers. So we're going to format. always got to do a little bit of back and forth here with these because it wants to do it. Why is, okay, so how much is that drawer? Oh, that's a 5-inch drawer. Okay, so I'm going to change that to a 5-inch drawer. There we go. Okay. So that's pretty good. We've got the vent hood going up. We've got the microwave down there. We've got the stove. Still got dishwasher and all that. And then as we turn the corner, oops. I say oops a lot. I don't actually mean oops. I just mean, oh, okay. I'm going to delete that. Scooch this. I'm going to add 6 inches. So make that 30. Do the same thing here. Make that 30. And then I'm going to do this into one of those drawer units as well. So I'm going to do custom. So then we'll assume that one of these goes into the dead corner there. Get the usual there. We've got a nice big drawer unit here. Again, in the corner, one of these will go into kind of a dead corner. And then we've got a nice drawer unit next to the stove as well. So we'll play around with that. Okay, we're going to close that. Elevation 1. And now you can see that that auto updated. So we're going to... Okay, so that one should already be on my layout. Nope, we need to update the view. Perfect, okay. We don't need quite that much. We'll go to here. Okay. Then we need camera. Now here we only care basically as far as that slider. I don't think I'm going to put that wall. Yeah, there we go. So we're trying to come up with a pleasing layout so people can see what needs to be seen, but also keep them in sequence. So now we're going to go here. So I should justify left for starters. And I don't want that. I got my camera a little too close to that island, so here I'm going to come over here. Edna, shush. And again, I only need as far as basic. I don't really even need all of that, but I'm just going to go as far as that power button door. Okay. So those are my kitchen elevations. Go. Okay, so I'm going to close all those. Hold on 1 second, I gotta send her out. Oh. So those are the kitchen layouts, or the kitchen elevations. And I'm going to turn off my camera wall elevation. Like I said, the client here works in the planning department. She doesn't need me to tell her exactly which wall's which. She can tell. So now we just have 2 more walls I want to do. Actually, it might even just be 1, because if we do it this way, yeah. Oh, did I do that? Yeah, that's 1/2 inch scale. Okay, cool. Threw me because of the shorter ceiling, but okay. So now I'm going to use my marker tool, start labeling these. Okay, so we have kitchen elevation 1, and this is 1/2 inch scale. And then I'm going in a circle.
Did you see our garage?
I put Edna out.
No, in this inside.
I put her in the garage.
No, in this inside.
Okay, fine. That's fine if she wants to come in.
No, she's already inside.
Okay.
She's already inside.
Thank you. And then this one is okay. So now we've got all of our elevations called out. I want to keep those in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's a little close. I'm going to drop that down just a tiny bit. And then this basically now gives us space. I'm going to draw a rectangle. And then do a text box. So here's what we're going to basically say. Okay, new including that sink. So we want to make sure we hold on to that section and cut that section of the countertop appropriately. Okay. And I'm saying further from kitchen instead of closer to fireplace because on the plans I didn't show the fireplace, so anyone not familiar with the project, I don't want it to be any confusion. New exterior door and window. So I'm wanting to make sure that we don't run into any issues with that. One thing this is reminding me now, the client did want to possibly change that hinge door between the house and the laundry room into a slider. She originally thought barn door, but there's really not space for it, so I want to do a pocket door. I think that makes the most sense. And they're already going to be having to rip out part of that wall anyway to relocate that washer-dryer hookup, so we might as well have that pocket door extend back there. Just looking at the plan, trying to think of any other notes. Or not reconfiguring. Rearranging. Because it is a built-in ice maker, so you gotta have the water line going in there. Exact. Okay. So I'm just saying that that's basically for illustrative purposes. We'll come up with the exact layout a little further down. So. Zoom in here real quick. And I'm actually going to leave that whole rectangle there because that is a client who wants to handwrite a few things. They definitely can. And I'm going to scoot this one down just because it looks weird having that box. There we go. And this on the elevation, I do want, I want that rod to show, and that's considered, that particular template for whatever reason is considered furniture or not. So there's that closet rod, okay. And so now I just have to click update. There we go, now that closet rod shows up. So now you can see and it gets blurry when you're kind of at a distance, but as you can see, all I have to do is hit the update view button, and then it shows properly on my screen. Oh, that does all of them at once. Sweet. I'm still learning a few of the tricks of this newest version of Chief that I'm using. So I'm going to give these a little more space. That's kind of driving me nuts. You don't have to make them crowded. Why should you? Okay. So there we go. Existing, proposed, new elevations, and project notes. That is pretty much all you need. So this is what I'm going to submit to my client, along with a material look board, because she wants me to come up with sort of a look for the space. And I have some ideas on colors. This is obviously not dealing with colors here. But like I said, currently she has kind of these light maple-y cabinets with like a burgundy red wall. It's a little dated. Not terrible. I mean, the cabinets are actually not too bad. But it definitely could use some work. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save here, close that. and we are good to go. So, folks, thank you so much for tuning in to my stream today. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you do, subscribe. That's how you know when I'm going to be talking next, because I don't know when I'm going to be talking next. So this way you can get an alert and find out as soon as I go live. Be sure to like and comment. Tell me what you think. I would love to get feedback on these videos. Maybe not on the actual design, but at least on what you think of the video. And you know, but because designs are so, you know, created by the client and I, and you know, feedback's always nice. But yeah, let me know what you think of the video, and if you think there's entertainment or enjoyment or information here, and tell your friends about it. So thank you so much for tuning in, and you have a wonderful rest of